creating this comic, this story, has been quite a challenge because I started out going very traditional, using the Bristol and pencil, and then went from there to actually inking with ink. And I found that when I would scan it in to work in the digital world, to work in Manga Studio and in Photoshop, I found that the inking was just an unnecessary step, the actual using actual ink, because I had to redo it once I brought it into the computer. Now the really cool thing about using Manga Studio is that there are so many different brushes and pen nibs available in there that I start with just a regular pen nib and to ink it, and then it's a multi-step process from there, because I'll go in with a watercolor tool and do a lot of the shading and the depth with the watercolor tool, and then to add shadow, I'll use a spray can tool. So it's a very multi-layered process to get just this very stark black and white comic to pop to life. And I tried to initially to be very Miller-esque, or very Mignola style, and very simplified, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't leave it alone. I had to go that next step, and I think that's been good, because that's helped me kind of define a style that's a little more of my own rather than copying what's out there. As far as getting this story out there, I have every intention of going to print. That was from day one. It's intended to be in physical copy. But that said, I do have 100% certainty that it's going to go into digital format as well, because that's just that's the reality of comics today. People are probably spending as much money and reading as many comics on their iPads and their tablets and on their computers as they are in physical form. But I do think that there is a definite need and a love of having the pages in your hand. And that's something that I've always felt, that having that tangible book there is so much more interesting than the digital world. Having said that, with sites like Comixology and the guided reading, it does add a new layer of cool to the viewing process, that it takes you piece by piece through the book, and I like that. So I'm kind of conflicted. I like them both, and I don't see that there's a need to go one way or the other. I think we definitely want to have both options. As far as like marketing and whatnot, it's quite a huge task. I mean, there's a lot that needs to be done. I mean, when you go to the conventions alone, you're paying for tables, and you're paying for all of the miscellany that comes along with it, business cards and bookmarks and posters and all kinds of marketing stuff. So yeah, I mean, I have quite a huge job ahead of me. But I look forward to it, and it's just like with anything I've gone after in the past. I see myself going the indie route for at least a while, and then hopefully at some point, once it's kind of established itself, then maybe moving into a bigger market. But I look forward to doing the grassroots approach. I always have, because I love interacting with people, and I love getting the reaction firsthand for people who see the book. And it's going to be a really neat ride, and I'm very excited to get started.